I'm Whitney with Taco Travels West, and I'm here on my Central Texas property. The afternoons here are already hitting 95+ degrees, and the humidity is through the roof. The bugs are doing bug things. The poison ivy is poison ivying, which means it's time for me to go. I'm here today to tuck in my winter cabin, make sure it's ready to withstand what is sure to be another brutal Texas summer, and ultimately prep this land to be without me. And then I'm out. I'm going to greener, drier, maybe not so much greener, drier and cooler pastures. I just had to clear a bunch of oak trees from the path. The guy who owned this property before us, oh my gosh, they are just dropping like flies, these oak trees. The guy who owned this property before us, he went through this area and really disrupted quite a bit of the ground, and red oaks do not do well with that. Holy shit. Wow, there's a lot that's happened since I've been here before. My gosh, there's just limbs down everywhere.
We definitely had a crazy storm come in. As I was wandering the property, I was finding more and more downed limbs. Sometimes entire trees were brought down to the ground, like this one here, which is blocking one of our major thoroughfares to get up to the cabin. It'll make for some good firewood eventually when we get around to cutting it. And then over here, this was actually, I think, a couple of trees. Probably one fell and brought the other with it. So it's kind of a bummer. This is actually right outside of our, what we're calling the con cab. We're building out 2 containers. You can see them here. And it's short for container cabin. Anyway, one has a bedroom and a living room. The other has a bedroom and a kitchen. And we had this shade cloth going across the top of it that the storm brought down. So I definitely did not anticipate finding all this today, and it added an extra 2 hours to my journey to get. Now, this area of the property is what I refer to as base camp. We have electricity down here. We have 2 containers that we're turning into cabins. We'll eventually have a bathhouse, all the bells and whistles for comfortable living. We have 15 acres total, and my cabin is actually situated at one of the highest elevation points on the property. Now, I felt inspired to create this cabin after spending a summer in Colorado. To be honest, I've always enjoyed small spaces. I was a fort builder as a kid, but Colorado really sealed the deal. I stayed in log cabins throughout the summer, and they were simple and just super, super cozy. And I particularly enjoyed the way they managed to blur the line between indoors and outdoors while still letting me feel comfy. So when I came home, I told my husband, I want to build an A-frame cabin. These plans in particular are what I wanted to build, and I felt confident that I could do it on my own because I watched a YouTube video. Well, spoiler alert, I ended up calling in my husband for reinforcements multiple times. I would say I probably built the cabin 75% on my own. Here it is under construction, and it's mostly finished now, but it's still got a couple punch list items. So I'm really curious to see if there's more damage along the route. I honestly, it wouldn't have been a bad idea for me to bring a chainsaw because I have some suspicions about some trees that kind of look like problem trees, and there is a chance that they might have fallen on the path, but time will tell, and we're about to find out. So far, everything's looking pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with this so far, but we haven't gotten to the problem tree. Oh, problem tree is right there, and it's not a problem. So that's awesome. All right, now for the moment of truth. Oh, look at that. We do have a tree down in our path. All right, well, I can't get through unless I move that, so I guess we're gonna move it. All right, hopefully this isn't too much of a pain. It's kind of ginormous.
Holy shit. Well, shit. Maybe it wants to go this way. Oh my god. I should have brought the damn chainsaw. Got my chainsaw. Now we got to get back up to that hill. And this is a cool little chainsaw. This is a battery powered chainsaw. It's a little bit more lightweight. So when we're just cruising around here, trying to cut trail, it's a lot easier to handle than the big guy. We do have a bigger chainsaw for bigger jobs. But for what I'm doing, I think this little guy is gonna work really well. Forgive me for being totally out of breath. Just made it from down there to up here. Okay, I don't want to be gross, but like this, there's some really fresh animal turd. And, okay, and there's more. There's more right here. And it's clearly a predator. It's got a lot of hair in it. I'm really curious about who did that. Yes. Okay, let's get it done. That scat. Mountain lions, which is my concern because people nearby have seen a lion on their camera. Mountain lions are just like house cats in that they want to bury their poop. The odds of that being a mountain lion are very slim. But hey, stranger things have happened. So I just something to be aware of and something I have to keep my eye out for. That'll do it, I think. Well, that was an adventure, but we're here now. And she's still standing. I'm always like weird about that. I'm always like almost expecting that it will be on the ground, flopped over. Why is that? I will never quite understand that about myself because this baby's not going anywhere. Yeah. Let's open her up. Here she is in all her glory. My first thing I've ever built. It's not perfect by any means. There were so many lessons learned and so many things I do differently. But here she is, and it's what I've got. And man, this weather for May 16th, I couldn't ask for better weather to come out here and tuck this baby in for the summer. She's simple. She's simple and she's cute.
So mainly what I wanted to do to tuck in the winter cabin for the summer was to just kind of seal it up. I really want to prevent any pests from coming in here. I also wanted to protect our bedding, so I packed up all our bedding. Anything that an animal could find enticing, I sealed it up and put it away. What I'm doing here is I'm measuring, because when I built this big window, that greenhouse window, I used pine so that it wouldn't be too terribly heavy, and there were some gaps. So what I decided to do was measure and then install these cedar boards to seal those gaps. If you don't know, cedar is a natural deterrent against pests, so I'm hoping that in addition to sealing the cracks, it's going to keep the pests from wanting to come in, at least through that route. On this trip, I also installed that screen, and y'all, it was one of the easiest projects I've ever done. I can't believe I put it off for as long as I did because it was a total game changer. I was able to sleep on this particular night with that big greenhouse window wide open, and I was totally unbothered. So, huge improvement there. Now, I will say after this was done, I was exhausted. I had not anticipated storm cleanup and having to cut trees. So it was time to chill and just make dinner.
I got these and they're amazing. These are spill proof. I got them from REI. I think they're called Stacks, like STAX. And I just take these with me. They've got olive oil. I have some, like, forget what it's called. Red seasoning. I think that might be what it's called. Oh yeah, from Hardcore Carnivore, the red seasoning. Got some pepper flakes. I have some garlic powder, and then I have my pink salt that I take with me too. In case you're wondering what the water situation is like, this will get me through the weekend and then some. I also have my, I forget what it's called. Forget what the brand is. It's like Helinox or, oh, Nemo. I don't know where I got that random word from.
The winter cabin truly shines at sunset. And on this particular evening, I had so many beautiful iterations of sunset that I just sat and watched and filmed and watched the way the light changed. It was phenomenal. One of my favorite things is looking at my cabin with the glow of a lantern inside and the sunset in the background. It's just one of life's simple pleasures for me. And what a beautiful way to end a season of camping in the winter cabin. Unfortunately, once the sun went down, the air became very heavy and stagnant with humidity. It was really warm and it made it challenging for me to sleep. In fact, I don't think I went to sleep until about 1 a.m., although I tried. This is just a reminder of why I'm here this weekend. I'm here to close down the winter cabin for the season. And in just a couple of short weeks, I'll get to travel. First, the Tacoma and I, the Taco, we're traveling east for the first time ever to the Great Smoky Mountains. Then we'll come back home very briefly before heading out west to my property in Colorado. I'll get to stay there until early August. I love the cyclical nature of my life, but sometimes the transitions can be a little bit challenging, and it's always hard saying goodbye.
This is it. Oh my gosh. There's all these magnets stuck to my drill. She is, I think the cabin's ready for summer. I mean, it's kind of as good as it's gonna get. So, time to close her up. And that's a wrap. It's all locked up. Got this rock holding it in place. All right, little cabin. See you later. See you in the fall.
So before I left, I wanted to go ahead and top off some little homemade deer feeders that I had made earlier this year. This was a total experiment, and I gotta say, I'm kind of proud of it. I used a T-post and some wire that we happen to have to create like this poor man's gravity feeder. And then I decided to see if the deer like cottonseed. As it turns out, they absolutely love it. They come in like clockwork. They bring their friends. They're telling everyone. So I wanted to make sure and top them off before I headed out. Now, we are hunters. I think it's an interesting dichotomy. I love these deer. I watch them on my cameras, but I also plan on harvesting one this year. We care very much about putting organic wild meat in our freezer, and so that's kind of what we do. It's part of what we do. Um, anyway, I also wanted to take some of this cottonseed up to what we call the hilltop feeder. Now, I don't have a gravity feeder up there, but I wanted to put some of this cottonseed up there because we do have a game cam, and that's where I found the cougar scat, the potential cougar scat. So here I am just dumping it on the ground and hoping to catch some critters on camera as a result. And that officially marks the close of the winter cabin's first season. I'm so excited about what the future has to offer. I'll be headed out to Colorado shortly to build upon my off-grid property that I have out there. I purchased that land in November. There's nothing on it, so it's sure to be an adventure. Not only that, but I'll be exploring the national forest, fly fishing, tenkara fishing, and who knows what else. So please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and follow me on what is sure to be an epic adventure. Thanks for watching.